It's live from Huntington Beach, California, 2 Health Tuesdays, and the truth will set you free. Here I am with Dr. Tony, and we're going to do a whole thing on reclaiming your health, okay? Now, that, you can see the picture up on the screen. He's got it on the computer there. Which picture do I have up there? Dr. Tony, he's way more photogenic.
That was me actually. That was me in Ireland, close to where I grew up.
No kidding.
Yeah, right on a little wall right there, because those little bridges were all built hundreds of years ago to divide the land. So you never know who owned the land. So they just put a little bridge up and said, "That's yours. That's yours."
Okay, that would be bitching. Now, the second part of this, we're going to talk about detoxing from the jabs, and you know, the best we can with the technology that we have. We're going to run through a couple of things. Now, all of this is up on the Dr. B VIP, and you'll be able to watch it uninterrupted. Okay, and those that are supporting, God bless you. Thank you. And also the Extreme Health Academy, which is amazing. Okay, I'm going to do another webinar on there in a couple of weeks, and it's usually about 2.5 hours where we get on there and answer tons of questions. But get on there; they got fantastic forums. Okay, right now I have on the screen a crime that's occurring. Okay, now we're in an era, and I figure 500 years from now they'll look back and say, well, the Spanish Inquisition was horrible, but the 2000 and 20th century was worse. Okay, we're in a pharmaceutically controlled world. The pharmaceutical industry, and I encourage you to look at the book, The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert Kennedy. You read it?
Yes.
I know you did. I know you were working with him when you.
Yeah, I was actually, Bobby is a brother and friend, and I just love him. I was actually with him when he was writing the book and trying to eat a salad at the same time while he was working with his assistant, because it's 400 pages long, so you can't just read it in an afternoon, but several afternoons you'll get through it. It's really great.
If you're going to get it on audio, it's 27 hours. And riveting. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Yeah, references is amazing.
Oh, yeah, but you find out how the entire industry was taken over. It's called regulatory capture, where the companies that are selling you a product to alter your physiology through a chemical, and this is called healthcare in this country, which is really not even close to healthcare. Because like when you look at the drugs this person's taking,
it's incredible.
Okay, Tylenol, inhaled steroids, Prevacid, which is a proton pump inhibitor, metformin, which lowers blood glucose, but it actually makes insulin remain the same, so death is higher.
And this is when he was 41 years old.
41 years old, taking this stuff for 15 years. And you think, your body's not going to adapt to that? Oh, anybody in here familiar with the interactions of metformin with the steroids? No, I know what the solution is. Ask your doctor if it's right.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch knows everything. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's insane.
He pays my bank bills from me. My mortgage statements.
It doesn't make any sense. And so, but we're trained this. I mean, I was speaking at a high school a couple of years ago, and I opened up the health book, and it was a health class. The propaganda. I mean, Goebbels, the Nazi regime had nothing on this regime. It's all, you're only healthy and you're living longer because of chemicals, pharmaceutical interventions. And it's a complete lie. This would kill this person. Okay, what we did is we actually fixed it. It does.
Yeah.
What's third leading cause of death is medical?
Yeah, this is why I do what I do, because I was growing up in Ireland. My father was on so many medications. It was just incredible. I couldn't believe it. Nightmares. All sorts of problems. It's really sad.
It doesn't make sense, because there's 2 countries in the world that advertise drugs. You got New Zealand and us. Mm-hmm. And it's insane because, this drug will make you run through fields of yellow flowers.
Yes.
And then you got 5 minutes of side effects. Or, I'm sorry, they're not side effects, they're effects.
I just read the other day that one pharmaceutical company made $100 billion in the last 2+ years. The most amount of money a pharmaceutical company has ever made in the history of pharmaceuticals. So that's pretty incredible.
So what we're going to do tonight, it's reclaiming your health, because we're in a drug population, in a drug world. Okay, Dr. Tony is an expert, okay, with supplements, herbs, everything else. I'm just good at the nervous system and making the body work better. So when
you don't make me nervous.
Oh my God, I was adjusting a dentist in Mexico, and I thought between a chiropractor and a dentist, we scare everybody. But this, when you're looking at this, joint pain, asthma, breathing problems, this is a tissue production problem. It really is. When you're taking, just talk about pain, just for a second. And when somebody says, well, what do I do for pain? You know, I got to take the Advil. Okay, you still hurt. But then you also have an additional benefit of increasing heart damage, lung damage, joint destruction. So this is foolishness. If you take a blood pressure drug, it lowers your blood pressure, but it also decreases oxygen to the brain, can damage the kidneys, can damage the liver. I mean, it's a psychotic one. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Okay, this increases Alzheimer's. I mean, it's nuts. So this is, it's called non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Okay, they actually decrease inflammation. Inflammation is how the body heals. So when you're talking the anti-inflammatory stuff you have, it allows the body's process to go through that inflammation, deactivating the free radicals. Okay?
Yeah, it works both ways. It's either really good or it's really bad. But you want to make sure that you get a handle on it. And writing all these prescriptions certainly doesn't help in any way whatsoever. It actually increases your risk factors. So the more drugs you put into your body, the more damage you do to the liver, the spleen, the kidneys, and also to your heart. And this is one of the biggest challenges that we're faced with in today's world, is that we write more prescriptions in America than the entire world combined. So it's a real issue.
Okay, so now when somebody comes up for joint pain, okay, I'll recommend vitamin C, some omega-3s, some, complex, some juicing and blending. You got some stuff here, okay? Turmeric. Now, why did you assemble the whole joint pain bundle thing?
Because it's one of my biggest selling products, because that's the biggest challenge that people are faced with as we get older. Joint pain is huge. 20 to 30% of us die in pain. It's really sad. I had a fiance who weighed 80 pounds when she died in pain from massive amounts of chemo and radiation. Lost my father when I was 21, lost my mom, my brother, 2 brothers recently, as you know, back in my native Ireland, heavy smokers. So this is why I do what I do. This is why I write the books, do the television, do the programs, and I'm blessed to be back with you again. So I put a combination of all of these herbal remedies together, particularly the omegas, which is excellent for inflammation and also to support the endothelial, not only that, the heart muscle as well as cholesterol. And then, of course, the joint support. When your bones start to fall apart, because elephants have the strongest bones in the world, they don't do ding-dongs or donuts or big gulps or French fries or soda pop or pizza, Pepsi.
Wait, where does an elephant get their protein?
Yeah, they're getting their protein. Yeah, exactly.
So I know, from grass.
From grass. They eat grass. So these herbal remedies that are in the joint support are designed to provide a level of support for the joints. This is what you do all day long. And so ease of movement, mobility is a huge issue in this country because of the choices that we make.
When you're talking the omega-3, how it helps the endothelium, that's the lining of the blood vessels.
Blood vessels.
Okay, hugely important. That's like its own separate organ.
That's your plumbing.
And what we're seeing now is things that we can't talk about now are actually clotting the blood or clumping the blood. They call it the clot. Okay, just see that? It's going to get by the sensors for sure.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah, I really don't think so. But what the heck? We'll do this in the FEMA camp next year. It'll still be fun. But the omega-3s is also a great blood thinner. Okay?
Absolutely. Rather than taking a pharmaceutical, because we just write so many prescriptions, it's insane. That's why I became a doctor, because my father was on copious amounts of medication. My fiance was on medication. And I just thought there's got to be a better way. Hence the reason why I study and practice natural remedies. Because they do no harm.
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
And okay, so now the radiant greens, I actually do this probably about 2-3 days a week because I'm not real efficient. I'll leave real early, throw a cup of coffee in there, but on the weekends, I'll put a couple of scoops of the green and the red because it's quick, fast, easy. I can shake it up and drink it and go. The neat thing that I recommend about this is the antioxidant effect. I mean, the products here are good. Okay, but if you're getting, sardines, you're on the water. Okay, anchovy mackerel sardines are good. If you're on the land, flax oil, chia seeds, hemp seeds, those are all great.
Chlorophyll in the greens.
Chlorophyll in the greens.
Chlorophyll is the blood of plants with almost an identical molecular structure as hemoglobin, which is the blood of human beings. And basically what that means is when you harness the energy of sunshine, it actually turns the plants green. So these green superfoods go into the body and they deodorize and they cleanse and detoxify. And this is why the Nobel Prize was won way back in 1939, 1941, proving that bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. This is why green foods are so important. Not only that, they balance the pH levels of the body.
I get a chlorophyll water in Mexico. It's right next to our clinic. Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
I go to that same place too. I love it.
I know.
That's why it made me more green and leprechaun than I am.
Oh, faith and bigora.
The green superfoods. By the way, laughter is the best medicine. Norman Cousins said that laughter is the best medicine, really.
It is?
It is. So let's laugh more.
Okay, now turmeric.
Yeah.
Okay, turmeric. It's an adaptogen, right?
Yeah, there is significant amount of lead primarily in all of the turmeric that's imported into this country from a country I won't even say the name. So if there's a high lead content, it's actually defeating the very purpose of why you should take turmeric in the first place. This has black pepper and ginger, and this untangles the tangles in the brain. My good friend Dr. Oz told me one day. So this is what it actually does. So it actually helps your brain and your cognition work much more effectively. But not only that, it also provides a level of balance and comfort for those of you who are struggling with ease of movement, mobility, pain issues.
Oh.
So it's a very powerful antioxidant, but it must be organic, otherwise it has lead in it.
If you're going to make it at home, okay, you can take turmeric root, toss it in a blender, put a little bit of water in there, and grind the heck out of it. Not too, because you don't want to heat it up because that'll destroy the enzymes. But we'll put it in a strainer and strain it out and put it in a jar.
And you'll have nice yellow teeth for a week or two.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Honest to goodness.
Thank you.
Toothbrush, too.
Yes.
Anything you touch with that turmeric.
Man, it is done. You got to wear a bib. You got to wear a bib before you put it, before you take it. But this is in capsule form.
Should I say it's messy?
It's rather messy.
So making it at home, it's kind of a pain, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, if you look at South Africans, or you look at people in the Hunzas, the Vilcabamba Indians, the Azerbaijanis, the Titicacans, some of the longest lived people in the world, they live off the land, and the further away we get from the land, the sicker we become, and the closer we stay to the land, the healthier we become. That's why I do what I do and stay up late and get up early and write those books and do what I came down late last night so I could be with my colleague and brother and great friend to do this, because I love educating people, helping people get well. And when you have so much sickness in your family, as I had, I grew up in a family of 11. I was always sick. I was at the doctor on a continuous basis. I was taking so much medication, so much so that I had nightmares. I ran across the forestry at the back of my house, and I fell into water. I was in a deep state of psychosis, and I actually fell into the water and woke up, and my late mother took thorns out of my legs for 2 days because of the side effects from taking all the medication.
Wow.
Because I was scared of the dark. I grew up in a farmhouse in Ireland. I was scared of the dark. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't ask my parents. I was a shy boy. Can you believe that? That's true. This is what started me on this journey.
Yeah, when you're looking at like this, medications, okay, statins stimulate heart failure and hardening of the arteries. Now, what is
coronary thrombosis?
So
my dad died of.
So you mean cholesterol doesn't clog the arteries? Note the fake setup here, okay? And I'm playing the innocent guy, okay? And what do they tell you? Clogs arteries. It's damages. It'll kill you. So what does cholesterol do in the body?
Well, it makes hormones. That's what it's supposed to do.
Wait, you mean all the stuff that controls the production of tissue, okay, and the adaptation to the environment?
Right.
You build this out of cholesterol.
Right.
You mean the pharmacy of the body that's literally produces every glucocorticosteroid, mineralocorticosteroid, sex hormone that's right on top of the blood filter, the kidneys, the adrenal glands. It utilizes cholesterol to make the hormones?
Right.
Wow. Okay, so if you're out there taking a pill, there's
that's what they told me.
And I think it's pretty accurate, the stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, when in America, remember, our government is pharmaceutically controlled. The media is pharmautically controlled.
And I'm on the media all the time.
I know.
Everything you see and hear is manipulated. So from the web, social media, Twitter.
This is going out now. It's going out live.
Okay, good. Okay. I love that.
No, I want you to, because you're like a subversive. You're in the media, you're like underground. So,
yes, all right. I'll never get booked again.
So you can't, the doctor that prescribes the drug has to be the one to give you off of it. Okay, so there's a line, okay? And what I'll tell patients is currently there's no law that says you have to take a drug. There is for injectables if you want to keep your job and not have, have unemployment or something. Okay, but the medications, no. So I just tell them the side effects, set up a dialogue with the doctor. I say, look, your doctor can call me up because obviously if he's giving you a statin drug, isn't aware that it's going to increase your cancer rates, can cause higher diabetes rates, can damage your heart muscle and clog the arteries, and also, increase dementia and muscle aches.
And damage your endothelium.
Why?
And raise your C-reactive protein and homocysteine levels. So the cardiovascular markers are actually going to increase dramatically as a result, which means more inflammation and more damage.
Why would you give somebody a cholesterol-lowering drug?
Well, money. Greed.
Oh, greed.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got
to sick here.
So you have to start. Okay, first you get a chemical that alters cholesterol levels. Then you have to get the medical schools to teach this to the medical Pez dispensers. Okay, you go up there with a blood test, bam, the drug comes out. And so you have to change how medical research and science is done. God, that's brilliant. Must be a boatload of money in that stuff.
Yeah, there is a boatload of money in that for sure. Yeah, we write more prescriptions, like I mentioned momentarily, in America than the entire world combined. And yet we're the sickest in the world, and we rank 50th plus in the world as it relates to healthcare. So we're a mess.
Yeah, I just heard we're the last industrialized nation, last place.
Yeah.
We really fought to get there by destroying the health of our population. But Lipitor, the cholesterol-lowering drug that they used to mix coenzyme Q in it because it depletes that, causes more heart damage, but it was too expensive to produce that way. It was the first drug to cross the $10 billion mark.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the gold medal of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Gold, yeah, gold. It's gold for sure. Okay, so that's sick. So if you're taking a drug like this, you have to talk to the doctor, but for God's sake, educate them. Okay, because nobody can give you advice to stop taking the drugs. Although if you do look at Dr. McDougall, who runs True North, he gets everybody off of every drug first day by throwing it in a trash can, except for insulin. So, but look at your health. Find a doctor that's willing to look and educate you.
And there's natural remedies, of course, apple pectin, apple fiber, brown rice. I mean, this stuff is all natural. You can find it at any health food store. You can use that non-invasively, and that's the real key. Because every drug that you take, every drug processes through the liver, has massive side effects. And for different people, it's a different side effect. Everybody reacts differently.
So when the commercial on the TV says this drug helps with depression, however, suicidal thoughts, and suicidality are the side effects.
So when they speed up, you know you're going to die. It says call your doctor, but how can you call your doctor if you just passed away? That would be rather difficult, right? So these are all the side effects.
You're not saying let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, something crazy and old like that.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Like doctors should first do no harm. Okay.
First do no harm, right.
Okay, so we look at blood analysis, okay, at both our clinics. Blood is the life force, okay? It literally balances the pH, is vital to the immune system, vital for nutrients, everything. Now, you've got two good blood filters, okay? One, the lungs. 70% of your detoxing agents go through that. Hey, can you toss me my mask? I just breathed on someone. No, I think how stupid that is. Okay, I'm going to breathe in my own waste, okay?
Natural immunity, Dr. Bergman.
Natural
is
immunity.
Much better.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Bergman immunity.
Can I just say that
I'm going to patent that. Can I patent that? Bergman immunity.
Yeah.
Lungs.
Yeah. Next thing you're going to talk about is herd immunity. No, don't say that. Yeah, you get struck down by lightning. Okay, but lung is another blood filter. So you got kidneys as one blood filter, lung is another one.
Yeah.
And when we see the blood cells clump together, okay, and it's literally
sticky.
It's sticky. It's not clotting, but it looks like clots. So we call them clumping because they lose their electronegative charge. It should be like little magnets where you put them together and they
floating around.
But they start clumping together, they get sticky. Then they stack on top of one another, so there's no surface area. This is crazy.
And okay. No circulation, and just massive dehydration, and massive amounts of side effects, including, vasculitis, myocarditis, pericarditis, all those things that we talk about and we hear in the news every single day. No breathing, difficulty breathing, poor ejection fraction for the heart muscle, high blood pressure, all these things start to happen, gaining weight.
Yeah, you need oxygen. Plus you've got a sensor in the middle of your neck where the carotid comes up. senses carbon dioxide levels. So when carbon dioxide levels are up, bam, that heart increases to get the carbon dioxide levels down. So it slows down when they're down. So you balance this, so you balance the pH. So, I mean, when I'm talking about lungs, super important. Anxiety, stress, and depression, we talk about diaphragmatic breathing. High blood pressure, you got to deep breathe 10 minutes before you take your blood pressure.
It's really important. If you go to India, I've had a chance to travel around the world, interviewing different cultures for several of my books. They all talk about one thing: breathe, breathe, breathe. Learn to breathe. If we can do that, then we can manage. We had a patient today and we did that. How effective was it?
Yeah, very effective. Yeah, she was concerned about traveling, and it was really kind of cool. Imagine you're on a plane, the pilot dies, and you've got the old experienced guy. I'll talk you down, and he really did. He says, and because he normally doesn't talk slow, but it was just like
He's referring to me.
Oh God, it was so cool. It was like, who is this? Who possessed Dr. Tony?
Yeah.
But he just calmed, take a deep breath, listen to my voice. And it was.
She was feeling so much better afterwards.
Shit, I was feeling better.
And that's the real key. I remember this guy because I wanted to do yoga, hot yoga, and he said, no, don't go, because you get terrible anxiety. Terrible anxiety is hot yoga, you won't go. And for 5 months, I wouldn't go. And then when I went there, the girl who was teaching the class says, one thing, folks, breathe your way through the class. And when I went there, I just sailed right through it because I just breathed and listened to everything she was saying and tuned out. So that's really important also for being really mindful of our bodies, what we eat, how we react with other people, what we consume, the thoughts we use, and just being still sometimes is very powerful, which we had to do with that lady who's your patient today. We allowed her to be still because she was just freaking out. And that's what's happened in the last couple of years.
Huge.
We haven't had the coping mechanism because we don't know how to cope.
Now for lung advice that I give, I'll say put a little pinch of sea salt in the water, hydrate, because if you're dehydrated, instead of your body producing this lubricant called surfactant, it produces mucus, okay? And that mucus is good. It protects the lung tissue from damage, but you can't really transfer oxygen through it. So beta carotene, okay, carrot juice, that also helps with the lung function, hydration, minerals. What'd you put in the lung stuff?
It's very interesting. When I was telling Dr. Bergman earlier today, I went to college with a wonderful gentleman by the name of Mr. Quinn. I'll just use that name, and that was his real name, back in Ireland. And he could not walk up the hill when we would get off the bus in the morning to go to college back in my native Ireland. But when he'd play sports, he got really, really good and didn't have the oxygen deprivation problem. And his family told me, we gave him mullein and marshmallow. I said, mullein, what is that? So it grows in the hills of Ireland. What is marshmallow? Just like the marshmallow plant. So the power is in Mother Nature, because Mother Nature has such remarkable innate intelligence. It's able to go to that part of the body where we're having the challenge. So I give it to a lot of my patients who have been struggling for the last couple of years in various ways, whether it's from, what I'm talking about, and all those other things that people. So the lungs are the center of the respiratory system. You can't communicate. I can't use my voice. I can't expel my oxygen. I can't expel it properly if I have poor ejection fraction and poorly functioning lungs. So if you smoke, if you drink, or you do the wrong foods, or you're carrying a few extra pounds, the lungs will always be compromised as a result. And that's what we faced in the last couple of years. So I put the mullein and the marshmallow in there, plus hops as well.
Fantastic.
Just to allow people to get a little bit satiated and drunk. That's why I put the hops in there.
So you're going to have to ferment it.
You got to ferment it. Yeah, hops make good barley and beer.
We actually had a patient that was doing 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Okay, so what is that? 60 cigarettes a day. But and he's going, you're the only doc that never told me to stop smoking. I said, yeah, because you won't, because it's like beneficial. You get smoking generates dopamine, so it's when you're in high stress, you're not going to say, look, here, I'm going to take away the one relief that you have for your stress. Okay, that's foolishness. So, but a friend told me to mix mullein in with the tobacco. Mm-hmm. So it had not a beneficial. You're not going to clear the lungs by smoking tobacco and mullein, but it did have a slightly better effect on him. But I told him to roll it. So when you're taking like people that smoke during the day and that they just got to have a break, that's a gift to themselves. But if you go out there and instead of just smoking one after another, you get that chance of rolling. It's a little therapeutic, and so he went from 60 cigarettes a day down to about 12 in one day.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. I've seen so many results from natural remedies, non-toxic remedies that are affordable, that are effective. And the most important thing is safe. And this is what we do. This is what you do. This is what I do, is put together formulas that provide a level of comfort and safety for patients, and so they can actually start to feel better. So yeah, for sure.
I love that. Okay, so you're going to see like turmeric again. Turmeric is an adaptogen. Adaptogens means that it might have a different effect on each person. And this freaks out the medical world. That's why they can't understand herbalism. Except, just think of this, okay? Pick any drug, any drug. What are the effects? Oh, you might know them as side effects. Okay, here's Tylenol. We don't know how it works, okay? But this is good for, okay, now I should be out of the back of a wagon. Okay, this is good for menstrual cramps. It's good for headaches. It's good for joint pain. How does it work? We don't know, sir, but you just take it again. Okay, this is good for everything. It is toxic to the liver, so make sure you don't drink a whole bunch with it.
You sound like the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
I would love that. I would love that.
We're coming to
town. One of the best chiropractors was in the
Pharmaceutical
circus.
company's coming to town.
But it is. It's like a snake oil salesman. That these things are good for everything. Okay, however, what's one of the deadliest drugs in America? Tylenol or acetaminophen. I mean, it's
and then
insane.
if you drink with that or take any other SSRI or benzodiazepine, you take any form of medication with that, then it actually really doubles and triples your risk factor, particularly for a heart attack or a stroke. It's really bad.
And again, we can't tell you to stop taking the drugs,
Right,
because our country is controlled by the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, if they let people be like, like a gas station attendant can come up here and say, look, I've done 30 years of studying, okay, and this stuff is poisonous, this stuff is good. And he'll be okay. But, as a doctor, we can't. So now here we go. Cholesterol, blood pressure, antibiotics, again, indigestion. So you can see a pattern here. What's interesting is if I stood on Dr. Tony's toe, okay,
please do that.
No. He would probably kick me in the face, Taekwondo expert. So I wouldn't want to do that.
He's not even wearing shoes.
But it's for it's for if I stood, because when I was teaching human dissection, I would say, okay, get this.
You're going to dissect me?
No. I wouldn't do that to the living people, just
Okay.
the ones that were there. What's the connection between the hand and the eye? And people would go, what do you mean? So I would take it, and it's called a Jindrasic maneuver, where I'd squeeze this really, really hard. I'd go 1, 2, 3, and I'd squeeze it and see the pupils dilate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd ask them, okay, so the pupils dilated. What just happened to the liver? Oh, glycogen started to be broken down to glucose. What happened to the blood supply to the gut? Oh, it decreased. What happened to the immune system? Oh, it decreased. Okay, all of this stuff happens in that instant. And so what you're looking at this, when you see, and how many friends do you have? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, okay? It sounds like a cocktail, because it is. These people are under stress. That's it.
Fight or flight syndrome.
Fight or flight, 100%. So if you medicate stress, okay, without addressing the underlying cause, you become the third leading cause of death in America, and I really don't think it's third, because most heart attacks and stuff are going to be coming from chemicals. Our species doesn't have a defective heart.
Or poor dietary choices, or particularly cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
Or smoking.
It's not good for
Secondhand
you.
smoke.
Yeah, our environment isn't conducive to our species.
Smog pollution is a huge issue. Yeah.
So this right here, aspirin to thin the blood, okay? I mean, the data is crazy. Now, what we do is actually fix the problem. So before, after.
I love that picture of the patient before and afterwards. You can see the difference. How many days was that?
Usually 90.
This was a correction. As you can see right there, you see the correction. It's all tilted, antalgia. It's all to the one side. And then you can see the other picture on the right side, completely straight. I mean, the difference in that alone, just from a circulation for Dr. Bergman to take down the subluxations to increase the energy or the electricity or the flow around the body. I mean, the difference is unbelievable. It's like wearing 10 pounds on one side of your leg and none on the other.
We actually do that. That's one of the tests that we do. We do a posture analysis and have somebody stand on 2 scales. 2 to 3 pounds is normal. We'll see 15, 20, 30 pounds all the time. And they'll be shocked. But, you got it. There's only 3 things you got to fix in a human: physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional. Okay, you're looking at correction of physical. Okay,
Yeah.
but you can't just do this type of correction and expect the person to get better. You got to do the other addressing.
Yeah.
Now the energy bottle. This is something that I typically don't have a problem with, because I get like 7 good hours of sleep a night, and I work 15, 16 hours.
And you fast all day Tuesday?
Well, yeah, I got to because I got to have more energy.
Just drinks water.
Yeah, except when somebody has like fresh
that.
cookies or lunch, it's like squirrel.
Tomorrow is you're going to be doing intermittent feasting.
Well, I don't eat until lunch.
Right.
Yes, but
Yeah, so we'll overnight your lunch for you tomorrow.
That would be nice. Okay, Adrenal Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's rhodelia?
Rodeo Drive. No. Rhodiola is an herbal remedy. Rhodiola and ashwagandha are Zen herbs that are used in India. They practice a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, a lot of stillness, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of breath work. So those herbal remedies, again, are adaptogenic in nature, as you talked about earlier. So they know where to go in the body to provide significant support, because most of us are so out of stress. As you saw by that picture, you could see from this person's trunk, you could see they're like this. And that can't be healthy for you. It can't be good for you. You're sitting all day long because their posture, or his or her posture, is all off. So when Dr. Bergman aligns the body and brings it back on track, and then when you bring these herbal remedies into your body, because stress is a significant factor, particularly for cardiovascular disease and or stroke or heart attacks or various other health maladies or challenges that we're faced with. So the more we can be zen and zen out, like we did with that lady, your patient today on the phone, because they were going so hyper, it was making me hyper, it was making him hyper. So I was just observing Dr. Bergman talking to her, and he acknowledged that I was in the room, and I said, just let me work with you for a couple of minutes. That person changed dramatically her behavior in this situation, so that they can get a handle on their breath. And that's what the rhodiola and the ashwagandha does in the adrenals, because it brings balance. It's all about bringing balance in your life. If we have more balance, we have more love, we have more joy, more happiness, more compassion, more understanding, more respect and honor for each other, because everybody is so angry right now. Everybody that I meet is very angry. I've been yelled at and shouted at. Yes, I've been yelled at and shouted at for the last 2+ years for not complying and doing things the way other people want me to do. They want to control my life rather than me controlling my life. This is what it does.
You mean you can't just get a supplement and ignore everything else? You have to look at emotional health, your perception of the environment, how you're approaching other people. What do you do with that deep-seated anger? How can you live without it?
Well, let me take you into the karate studio, work you out for 15 rounds.
Yeah.
Then we'll get rid of it very quickly. So we've been cooped up. Human beings are not they're meant to touch and love and hug and be loving and respectful to each other. I'm from a large Irish family, so I mean, we're just hugging each other all day long. We still send hugs over the phone and Skype and Zoom. My phone's ringing all the time. That's really important to human beings. They did a study in Russia. I don't know if you know about this, Dr. Bergman. They did a study in Russia many, many moons ago. In fact, I met one of the lawyers that was involved, and he got involved in the case because it went awry. They took children, newborn children that were born, took them away from their parents. They all started to die dramatically. When they put the children together with touch or with a puppy, they actually got well, really well, and very quickly. So we need human touch, and that's very important. We've been isolated dramatically. We're a species that does not do well being isolated. We simply cannot isolate each other.
I heard 40 days of confinement will kill you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, solitary confinement. So a lot of the interventions that people have been experiencing are not designed to keep you healthy.
Right.
Okay, it's absolute control.
This is why people are drugging themselves to death. Literally, suicide and depression has skyrocketed in America over the last 24 months. It's just absolutely unprecedented, not only amongst elderly people, grandparents and moms and dads, but also among young children. They just don't know and simply don't have the tools to cope. Hence the reason why we write all those prescriptions in America more so than ever before, more so than any country in the world, as in the last 2.5 years. It's just incredible.
When we talk about how movement stimulates the cerebellum, which is a little brain on the back, and that controls the frontal lobe, that's where anxiety, stress, impulse control are. You talk about breathing, how that little 3-pound brain burns 90% of the body's oxygen. You talk about healthy nutrients and stuff that can decrease the oxygen and nutrients to the brain, like chemicals, like medications. Now, adrenal drops. We've got an automatic nervous system. One part keeps you alive under stress, that's sympathetic. The other part regenerates tissue, that's parasympathetic. Now, the adrenals, they're activated under a stress state, and they have certain functions. They do things like produce cortisol and stress hormones. It's fantastic.
Protect you during danger.
Oh my God, it's one of the best things in the world. But what's in the adrenal drops?
Same thing. They're
Yeah.
ashwagandha and rhodiola. So the capsules are in the bottle. You can take one for breakfast, one for lunch, one for dinner. It won't zap you. It actually gives you that Zen state. And the droppers, you can take that and put it under your tongue. Does the exact same thing. So
Okay.
it puts you into a Zen state. So it has ashwagandha, rhodiola, and some hops and barley, and L-theanine.
Okay, today just had a patient that was came in with anxiety, stress, depression, and a low thyroid. And I went in, I showed her the physical stress, altered structures. We did the heart rate variability, showed extreme sympathetic dominant state. It showed her chemical sensitivity, showed her a leaky gut. We did the thermography, showed dental toxicities. I mean, everything. Then she says, "Will this help with my thyroid?" And I said, "Dear, your thyroid's functioning correctly based on this friggin' system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your thyroid is responding correctly based on the physical, chemical, and emotional stress you have."
So all the external factors that were causing the issue.
Yeah, so because you shouldn't get this stuff if you've been diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. No, your adrenals are working correctly based on the stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff, you address the underlying problem. The underlying problem is not you're suffering from a lack of rhodiola. Did I pronounce it right?
Right, rhodiola.
Baby.
Rhodiola, the word of the day.
But this, when you're addressing that, it gives you the nutrients to help. Now, the prostate plus, I've heard some amazing results on that. Okay. And because, if you're a male living in, 2022, you're exposed to a massive amount of estrogens. And I'm talking like pesticides, plastics, it's just crazy. And this stuff, what did you put in there?
Saw palmetto primarily, pygeum, beta-cytosterol. It's very expensive, comes from Europe. That's the thing that actually makes the prostate work much more effectively. As my late father would say, your plumbing's not working too well today. So this is what happens when we get older. We slow down. And then, of course, if your diet is a disaster, if it's a lot of saturated fat, processed food, genetically modified food, that's a real issue. If you look at the Asian cultures, they don't have prostate problems. The women don't have breast cancer problems. They don't have hysterectomies. They don't have breasts removed like we do in this country. We know one famous actress, she just had her breast removed just recently in Los Angeles. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I put herbal remedies in that are well researched. Historically, I look for things that have had tremendous efficacy and potency that actually work, unlike a drug, because I don't want castration. I don't want my testes removed. I don't think you do either, do you?
No.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad you're awake. And that's the option, John.
Yeah.
We have a friend, John, here. I got to acknowledge him. He's an amazing dancer, and his partner, Carol. He's just the most amazing human being that I've met all day. And I met a lot of nice people today, but he's just so full of life and so full of joy and enthusiasm and excitement. And that's the real deal. The more enthusiasm. By the way, I read a story when I was going through grad school. You have tons of stories from grad school, but one of the professors was telling us that the more excitement the doctor has for his or her patient, the better the patient got. Well, faster, really fast. We need more of that. Unfortunately, you can't find health in a pill or a lotion or a potion or a jab for that matter. Did I say that?
Really? Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll be bunking together in the FEMA camp.
It looks like so.
Okay. Now, antihistamines. No.
You don't? Okay, good.
No, I sleep like a rock.
Okay.
My wife says I snore, but I don't really snore.
Last time I saw you, you weren't snoring.
Antihistamines. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've got multiple patients who, I think we're up to like 12 pharmacists as our patients. They wouldn't touch an antihistamine to save their life. Okay. Because it is deadly to the brain. And
it's that faucet that turns on, Dr. Bergman, and you can't turn it off. It's like your accelerator getting stuck in your car. You know what to do. You're putting on the brake, but nothing's happening. This faucet is running and running and running, and it is abnormal. It's incredibly damaging to not only to your sinuses, but also to your eyes, but also to your brain, and hence the reason why people just are out of whack. I mean, who here has seen so many angry people this last 24 months? Right? Everybody's not in their head. Everybody's putting their hands up. That's one of the reasons why, because we're out of balance. Mm-hmm. And this is why my colleague and great friend and brother does chiropractic, because he's doing God's work every single day, bringing people back in balance again over a period of time. I see all the stories. I read all the stories. I see the photographs. I see the difference in the body alignment. This is the key. And this is why we love chiropractic, because we do no harm.
Okay, now, if you have a doctor, you go up to him, because remember, he knows what's right about everything. and you're having trouble sleeping, sleeping pills do not help you sleep. They knock you out. They put a chemically induced system in there, and you're not going to wake up refreshed. This is why in every pill,
Sluggish.
it's crazy. It says will cause sleepiness, drowsiness, brain fog, everything. So look at our sleep restriction videos, because there's a way to do it without doing this. Okay, and they're still available.
That's why it's called Dramamine. You wake up a drama queen.
So now what we'll recommend is journaling and reading, restricting your sleep to 6 hours for 21 days. Within 5 days, you're going to be sleeping through the night. We also recommend like a hot bath or walking, deep breathing, nasal diaphragmatic breathing, so before you go to bed, which has a calming effect. Okay, what'd you put in a peaceful sleep?
You know, this is very interesting. I was in Palm Springs, California several years ago. My late mom and my sisters were in from Ireland, and I met a lady, and she told me she would drink a bottle and a half, sometimes more, of wine to go to sleep. And I said, well, I found this Chinese herbal remedy called jujube and L-theanine and barley and hops, which I put in there as well. And I said, it seems to work really well based on some of the studies that I've read from China. I put this concoction of a formula together. This is a different formula now, but it has those same ingredients. I says, why don't you take this bottle and try it and let me know, because the show was on for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a home and garden show in Palm Springs, California. And she comes back the next day and said, this is the first time in 23, 24 years that I have slept. So those natural herbal remedies slow down the circadian rhythm. They put you into that Zen, balanced state, because most people are taking either coffee before they go to bed, they're taking ice cream, they're doing some pizza, or they're watching a movie that is not good for your soul or your being or your consciousness. So it's a scary movie. So before you go to bed, you want to make sure that you make your home a peaceful Zen state, so that you can actually go there, relax, turn down the lights, put on some light music, read if you wish to, and take 2 or 3 of those. If you're really having a difficult time, 2 or 3 half an hour before you go to bed, you will sleep throughout the night and wake up feeling really, really alert and alive.
This is one thing Mom never told us, or my mom, is that sleep is when your body regenerates. You break down and build 1 billion cells a day, and that construction occurs at nighttime. She was wrong also about, if you make that face, it'll stay that way. And if you eat a watermelon seed, it'll grow inside of you. Okay, was anybody freaked out about the watermelon seeds? Okay.
And production goes down dramatically in the workplace, and accidents go up dramatically on the freeways. This is statistics as a result of not getting enough sleep. I see people all the time, and they're falling asleep at their desk. I've hired people who fell asleep at their desk. I went looking for them. I couldn't find them. They're under the desk. They were asleep. And I'm not kidding, because their blood sugar is so low, because they're not getting enough sleep at nighttime, or they're worried or stressed. Here's what you and I have found, and I'm sure everybody else here in the room has found, and people at home as well. Everybody's doing the best they can. You're just a child of the Most High. You're doing the best you can with what you have right now. So my message is, you are enough, right, Dr. Bergman? Mm-hmm. You are enough. And we're here to guide you, to help you, and to give you a better opportunity to have a better quality of life. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, and
so good sleep is really important.
And when you're talking about preparing your mind and filling your mind with stuff, it's like stretching before a run.
Yeah.
Okay, honest to goodness. Because if you can prepare your mind, we recommend journaling and reading and making it so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, or getting some eye coverings.
And being grateful.
Oh, attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude is really important. Being grateful.
It changes the chemicals your brain secretes.
And as an immigrant, I'm really grateful not only to be here with my buddy and brother, but also to meet you folks, and also the folks at home, and to do the things that we do on a daily basis. This is our legacy. This is our calling. This is why we pay it forward. We want to do this. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is why I get up early and stay up late and write those books and do the morning news shows and provide comfort. We all need comfort. Doesn't matter who we are, from my doggies to my friends and to my family and to humanity in general. When you have a purpose and meaning, you can find real meaning in life and what life is truly all about for you. That's where you find your joy and your happiness.
Okay, now I deal with a lot of patients. Mm-hmm. You deal with a lot of patients.
Not as many as you.
Well, I don't think anybody does as many as we do.
We could never catch up to you.
Okay, imagine this. Okay, you could see what it smells like. Okay, 65-year-old gal with wrist pain. Now, she does have a reverse curve in her neck, okay, which all the nerves that supply the arm come out of the neck, so that could be a contributing factor. But the doctor says one of your wrist bones is too long. Yes, we know you've made it over a half a century with no pain or whatsoever, and you played tennis and done everything, but your wrist bone is too long. I've had patients that say their clavicle is too long. So the doctor will remove a section of the clavicle, internally rotating it, and boy, that makes my shoulder feel so much better.
And your posture?
And then they got to do it to the other one. And it's like mind-boggling. A genetic anomaly that shows up when you're 70. You know, it's just so, it doesn't smell like the north end of a cow.
Yeah. I grew up with cows, by the way, in the fields in Ireland.
Oh God, I just milked my first cow.
You did?
Yeah.
Didn't kick you?
No.
Because I used to milk the cow with the bucket underneath my legs like this, milking the cow. And one day the cow kicked the bucket. Really?
Yeah, they
and I had to go to school and tell my family that the cow knocked the milk all over. And I was really embarrassed and so upset because I was bringing the milk home. And that's why I had a dairy allergy. Another reason why I started to study natural remedies. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, we tied the legs to a post, and so it was okay. It did.
Your legs or the cow's legs?
The cow's legs. I should have tied my legs because I was scared.
We got to do it. Anybody here ever milk a cow? It's a lot of right, brother
you
John.
You got to pull.
John,
and I'm like, sorry, dear. No, get in there. You know, it's like, oh, damn.
And if you squeeze that udder a little bit too tight, boom, that bucket is gone. It's gone, right? And the milk is gone. And there's cow manure all over you, so you can't go to school. I used to have to do that, run home, clean up as much as I could, and then run to school. And people would say to me, "You smell like cow manure." Yes, I do. Growing up on a farm, that's what I did.
So if you're taking medications to alter your physiology, you're not suffering from a lack of medications. Okay, find the source of it. Now, blood sugar support. Remember, type 2 diabetes is not a disease. It's an adaptation to stress. And you've got 3 stressors: physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress. You got to address all 3. That's bottom line. What'd you put in here?
I put in a remarkable herb called chromium picolinate, and also Gymnus sylvestre. That's an herbal remedy, and banaba, which is used in the Philippines. So what it's doing is when you take in excessive sugar, by the way, the average person in America consumes 200 pounds of sugar per person every single year in the United States.
You're kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like 3/4 of a pound a day.
That's 3/4 of a pound a day. It's a lot of sugar for sure. So these herbal remedies are designed to help the pancreas deal with all the insulin that's pouring into your body, because it's like a wild, crazy dream that it's a diabetic coma that you're in when you take in excessive amounts of sugar, excessive carbs, not enough exercise, ding dongs, donut, big gulps, the French fries, the soda pop, the pizza, Pepsi, Prozac. You take all that into your body. The body does not know what to do with it. And so as a result, these herbal remedies are designed, we say this in legal terms when I'm on the air, designed to support blood sugar levels within the normal range. That's what they're designed to do. So the banaba.
And you could really say that legally.
I can say that legally on the air, yeah. Because I'm on the shopping network, so I'm legal. That's what I just used. That's what the legal terminology I'm allowed to say. So
remember,
this really
we're in
works.
a pharmaceutically controlled country. Your speech has been censored in this realm for a long time.
I have to say all that legally. So 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, 1 for dinner. If you're really having a big, heavy meal, take 3. But it'll definitely help you sleep better, and you won't be in a diabetic coma for the week.
Okay, well, this happened a couple of years ago, but it was so funny. Little 5.5, 6-year-old kid. Okay, darling kid with a 32-ounce big gulp.
Mm-hmm.
So he's this tall. The drink is this tall.
It's bigger than him.
And he's drinking it, and his eyes are wild, like, he had a semi's coming towards him. And I said, wow, 32 ounces of soda. How's that experiment going?
Yeah, they did a study at Stanford, I believe it's Stanford or Harvard University. They fed, may I say this?
Yeah.
They fed one group of kids, or young millennials that are starting off in college. They fed them green superfoods and protein. Remarkable test scores. They fed the other group all the sugary drinks. ADD went off the charts. ADD levels went off the charts. Their attention deficit was really bad, and their test scores plummeted dramatically. So there's significant difference, because when you eat the right foods, you balance blood sugar levels. I've been going since, I came down here about 12:30, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock yesterday, whatever. Been going all day and hanging out with my good friend Chris, and hanging out with you this morning and here all day. You can see that my energy levels are balanced because I'm feeding my body the right nutrients. If you give the body the right nutrients, it will respond accordingly. If I had that 32-ounce, we call it big gulps, big gulp, I mean, I'd be on a flight to Ireland because that sugar rush.
Without
boom.
the plane.
Yeah, and you could see the damage in your skin. Be very weak on my arms for sure.
Well, the IQ points of American children have declined 7 points
7%.
in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We're looking at the expectancy has dropped around 4 years. So the interventions to protect you are working well.
Yeah. And of course, the omegas, we talked about that earlier. These are really good. If you look at the longest lived people in the world, they live off the land. They eat herbal remedies. They find leaves and plants and seeds and things that do the body no harm. So in cultures that do that, they have much more longevity. They're leaner and they're fitter. I've met some of the longest lived people in the world. They have a six-pack. They have beautiful teeth. Their skin is really nice. And they have full heads of hair. Really, they look amazing. You wonder, wow, they're in the middle of this wild, crazy rainforest, and they got great heads of hair, and we're pounding in protein powders, we're pounding all sorts of stuff, and they look better than we do, and they're living off the land because of the live food, the live energy. Because basically, as you know, Dr. Bergman, when you heat anything over 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you destroy enzymatic activity and consequently the future life of the plant. Hence the reason why those superfoods are off the charts amazing. The letters, phone calls I get are just dramatic.
Living foods.
Living foods.
And I'm showing you pictures, actual x-rays, actual forms that people fill when they come in.
That's what I look like in the morning.
Hopefully not bent. But when you look at this, low back, neck pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, knee pain. Now, all the joints in the body are hydraulic. Okay, they need fluid in there. They need synovial fluid, which is super filtrated blood. Looking at this, is her blood healthy or unhealthy? Unhealthy, it's got to be. Nobody has diffuse joint pain like that. Okay, that's
This is
ridiculous.
unprecedented. This is like someone who's totally crumbling, literally falling apart in front of your own eyes. But they can't believe it until they actually see the photographs and see the x-rays.
And if they're going to their, Kaiser doctor or whatever healthcare doctor they got here, okay, and what solutions are they going to get? Are they going to say, hey, honey, how many bowel movements a day are you getting? No. How's your sleep patterns? Oh, we're not going to ask that. No, they're medical Pez dispensers. I mean, there's before and after. Okay, and you can see nice structural changes. But this doesn't work unless you're addressing all three: the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. That's the key.
Yeah.
And that's why like these two things. When I'm just running around, I'm in a bind, I'm going off to some place, and I don't have time to, cut up fruit and put it in a bag and, have that for lunch. This is fast and easy.
Yeah, 86% of the U.S. population hardly eat any, or certainly not enough, of greens and fresh fruits and vegetables every single day. I was watching Dr. Oz on TV one day, and he was talking about pomegranate. Pomegranate is a rotor-rooter for the artery I was telling you this morning, and it has an active component called ellagic acid. And what that does is it goes in, as Dr. Bergman talked about earlier, it cleans up the plumbing, cleans up the endothelial. That's what it does, deodorizes, balances the pH levels of the body. Dr. Lansky and Dr. Newman, two wonderful Jewish researchers, did some research several years ago, and they found out that men and women who took 2 ounces of pomegranate juice increased blood flow dramatically. It's about keeping that blood flowing. Don't eat late at night. Watch what you eat. Good attitude. My mother said, just keep smiling, keep smiling, keep smiling all the time. Be around good family friends. Tell some jokes and have a laugh.
She didn't say keep your social distance, do anything.
No, she didn't do any of those things.
Okay. We've now entered a world where we're going to talk about things that cannot be discussed in the regular world. So YouTube, Facebook, I hope you guys appreciated this. I like Dr. Tony. He's cool. He's actually really a cool guy. He really is.